I'm now going to invite Father John Rutten forward, the Newman Center Chaplain Director, to say a few words and to announce the St. Joseph Award. Father Rutten.
Thank you, Father Morgan. There are many people that we must thank. The staff who have, behind the scenes, made so much of this happen. Kenna Kleinschmidt, Peggy Whitmire, Tyler Kozel. Grateful for the ways in which sometimes an idea that rolls around in my head comes to fruition. I had nothing to do with any of this, except it was my idea. The missionaries who are on staff here currently, thank you for making the lives fruitful in this time. The reason I really love what I do is because I get to see Christ's work in people's lives at an age in which I sometimes felt like maybe if someone had just pointed him out a little bit to me, I might have caught the fire a little sooner, but I caught it just when God had planned. Thank you, missionaries, for all that you do. The Dakota Events Center that has made this evening so special. Meridian Decor, which has donated all of the stuff that you see here. Everything here was done at no expense to us. Valiant Vineyard. The event hosts, Kevin and Shannon Miles. Grateful to have been your pastor for a brief period of time until God sent me on a different mission. I'm grateful to be reconnected with you guys again through this mission. Tom and Pam Fritz, coming from Rapid City, grateful for the ways in which you have agreed to host this night and reconnect with us here at this great mission. Sister Rosemary Molly, who was here when I was here, she doesn't know this, but I could be found far more often at Carrie's than I could at the Newman Center. but someone started fighting me about being Catholic, and I got really mad. And I took a apologetics book over to the Newman Center, and I said, "Sister," and she ordered a bunch of copies. And I don't know if you remember that, sister, but I still have the copy from that moment, which would be almost 25 years old. And now I hand those same things out to our students. You made a big impact on many people, Sister Rosemary. Ariane and Casson Dennison for hosting this night, and Neil and Molly Fulton. Molly, in her absence, got replaced by Pat Gary. You did an okay job, Pat. Not quite Molly. The Newman Tour hosts back at the Newman Center, that was a wonderful thing. If you didn't have an opportunity to visit, do on your way back. It's worth the trip through memory lane. There's binders and photos and rooms to check out. Dr. Bill and Cindy Denninger. Dr. Denninger is really the historian of the Newman Center at this moment, and I just want to put a plug. If any of you have things in your keepsake that you don't want that would be valuable at the Newman, please find their way to us. History is important. And Tom and Margaret Holland for hosting us at the Newman Center, and also Bill and Margaret having served on the Finance Council. Megan Fugelseth and Tyler Zink for offering your support and help. The presenters, Father J.P. Morgan. Wow, everybody, home run. Thank you. I had to make sure I got ahead of the bishop on his schedule, because he does that Saturday Mass. Father Chuck Simple, looking forward to your words in a bit. Art and Lana Rush, thank you so much. It's been a joy to journey with you in my years down here. And Father Joe Fursell, grateful for your invocation and for the ways in which you have pastored so many young people here. Trevor Case and Raleigh Moore, thank you. Especially also thank you to the students that have put so much work into being here, those of you that are here tonight, but really a number of students who have been working in many ways to bring this all about, to move stuff around and set things up and make things happen. Thank you very much for all you do. And I'd like to ask one group to please stand. If you have been a Focus missionary or are one on the campus at the University of South Dakota, would you please stand? Thank you. As I'm going to say in a minute, many things have been the same in 60 years, but the one distinct thing I've noticed is what the capacity basically, a missionary, 5 missionaries makes our capacity to extend into the campus in a greater way. It makes it possible to have meaningful relationships with people on the soccer team and students in the football team and people in the Greek houses and people in the arts department, and it's really been a beautiful thing, and you're really much to be thanked for reaching into the campus and finding so many people searching for purpose and meaning in this world. I want to thank the choir who you will hear at the end of the night for contributing your voices to our worship and to this night. And lastly, I would like to have Kenneth Kleinschmidt, if you would please stand. This whole night is much because of her. She is the one, as the director of campus ministry, has made this beautiful gathering possible. The alumni and donors, the supporters, some of you have supported this mission for decades. Some trusted me when I asked for help to get a new stove, and others helped when I had some crazy idea that I should get on a roof. We aren't here to ask for money. Many people expected that or kept thinking I should. It was important that we know we're here because Christ has gathered us together. There's other days that you can be sure I will give you a call. In the past 3 years, we have put over $1 million into the mission of the St. Thomas More Newman Center at the University of South Dakota. Less than 1,000 of that came from my pocket. It came from many of you and many people who want to see this mission continue. We're very grateful on behalf of the Finance Council, on behalf of Father Terry, on behalf of the Bishop, that so many of you have responded to the needs, both physically and mission-wise, at the university's Newman Center. You can actually go on the website if you want to see all the things that have happened and where it all went and what we've done. We are here to give thanks and to share in the joy of what Jesus has done for so many young people, so many of us. How many families have started and grown and had faith at the center of their lives because of the Newman Center? How many parishes have active members who are involved in their community, understanding the need to serve the parishes as well as to receive because they learned that at the Newman Center? How many communities have servants, civil servants, and people in their communities that know how to care for others, to look out for each other, to open a door, a table, and a heart to someone who might be new, because that's what they learned at the Newman Center? How many businesses and employers, teachers and hospitals and legal experts serve our communities with honor and dedication and love because they know who they are and they know where their power comes from? What has happened in 60 years of this mission is truly transformative of persons, families, parishes, communities in this region and throughout the country. And I am absolutely certain it will continue. While each generation is unique, so much has been the same. It's been the most surprising thing that I've experienced at the Newman Center. Amazing retreats. And then I think, well, there used to be something called a busy person's retreat when I was here. Or the retreats in the beginning, the ones that happened at Lake Chetek. We reach out to the campus in incredible ways today. And then I hear stories about the God Squad from the 60s and the 70s. And I read a letter from the Theta girls thanking Monsignor Doyle for coming over to their house for dinner. We just took a mission that, as you already heard earlier, was deeply impactful. And then I open up a box of all kinds of things, and it's got driver's license and lists of names from people who went on mission to Chicago and to the Appalachians and to other places of need in this country. We have Mass, and it's a beautiful thing to see young people here. But since 1964, the sacraments have been serving and feeding God's children on this campus. When I arrived, the ping pong table was in competition with the TV in the lower lounge. And so we moved it into the fireplace room. And there we learned about Polish ping pong. And if you don't know, ask someone before you go. But just today, I opened up an album, and there I see a cleric with a ping pong paddle from many years ago, who also used to play tennis in the North End. Bishop Dudley, playing ping pong right there at the Newman Center. OCIA has been a beautiful gift, and we currently have likely 16 people who will be receiving the sacraments the week after Easter. We had 14, I think, last year and 9 the year before. It seemed like something special was happening, and certainly is. And then I went back through the sacramental books, and I saw that every year Father Joe Fursell was at that Newman Center, there were double-digit people entering the church. What's happening now has been happening for many years. There's a great sanctity that happens in people in an ordinary way. And if you aren't aware, Michel Dupont is a missionary who is up for the process of canonization, who started the Focus Missionary Program at the University of South Dakota, and has gone to her eternal reward in the process of discerning her sanctity has been going on. An incredible thing to think about. But then I open up a box of VHS tapes, and I see a recording that says, Dorothy Day visits the Newman Center. 2 servants of God cross the threshold of that building. Think about what's needed for caring for that facility, and Father Mark Lichter and the other priests who were so grateful for Mr. DeRushi showing up and just fixing the lights and whatever else needed to be done. There's been a lot of priests, Father Mark Lichter, Father J.P. Morgan, Father Ken Love, Father John Short, Father Gary DeRushi, Father Jerry Rannick, Father John Rutten, Father Grant Lacey, Father Tim Cohn, Father Nick Heyer, Father Tyler Matson, Father Mitchell McLaughlin, Father Jacob Doty, Father Scott Miller, Father Matt Schimmel, all came out of the Newman Center. Half of that list are from the last 15 years. But the vocation of marriage is even more abundant. A couple just got married this summer, Olivia. There you are in the back. What a beautiful thing to see those photos from your wedding, you and Hans, and the great gift. And to have Art and Lana stand up here and hear the story and yours and think, my gosh, 60 years of marriage happening right here. Shannon and Kevin, Sister Rosemary, how many people you prepared for their great sacrament? How many marriages are now fulfilling the prayer of the wedding day, that they would see their children's children? Tom and Pam, Art and Lana, Margaret and Tom, and others I'm sure here, to look upon your grandchildren's face and to know that it wouldn't have been possible had the two of you not met right here. So much has happened. There's one more thing we all share in common. The mud and the gravel and the potholes, oh my. The mud on your tennis shoes as you step out of your car, the gravel and the dirt that's tracked inside the Newman Center, and the potholes you do everything you can to avoid. There is one last thank you I'd like to bestow. I'd like to do so on behalf of all the students over the 60 years, the alumni who come back to visit, the fans who come to cheer on the Coyotes, parents who bring their high schoolers to have a college visit. Certainly every response to God is important. But some pave a special way into our hearts. Carl and Michelle Carlson, would you please join me on stage? Why don't you come over here, Carl? How can I forget the day I was... Yeah, do you guys want to... Why don't you guys both come over here? Both of you come over here. There we go. How can I forget the day that I was sitting in that airplane in Denver? And I saw Carl Carlson from my seat arrive at the entrance of the airplane. And knowing he was in the concrete business, I looked at the empty seat next to me and I said, "You wouldn't put him next to me, would you, God?" And lo and behold, he did. And how can I forget that our flight, and that long flight, our conversation about ministry, about college students, your experiences, your daughters, you were just arriving back from visiting your daughter and had been to Mass with her at the University of Dayton in Ohio, I believe, or somewhere close around there, Ohio. And we talked about our experiences of the Newman, and of course, we talked about our moms. Sharon, what a joy it is to have you here. Sharon and my mom couldn't have foreseen that this day would happen. But we're grateful that you're here. How can I forget? Knowing I hadn't actually asked you, but had hoped and prayed you got the point. How could I forget when I stood up at the end of that flight and you said to me, "Father, why don't you send me that information on the parking lot?" You didn't have to respond to the soft sell that I made on that day, or the follow-up emails, or the addition of the street parking you weren't aware of. You didn't have to address the need for it to be widened 10 feet. You didn't have to give such attention and care to the unexpected discovery that about 10 feet into the lot was a foundational dirt problem that was causing all of the pothole problems. The ground under the parking lot wasn't stable. And how much it meant that you just did what needed to be done to have it be done right that time. You saw it through, and the moment I was most grateful for was actually at your sister Jean's book signing. I overheard a conversation, and Ed, I don't know the concrete business, but I know when two people are talking about certain things. And Carl, you said to Ed, you're gonna put some of that special stuff in the concrete mix, right? And I understood, Carl, that you were giving us your very best. I knew that God had put a special grace in your heart through this ministry at the time that you were here, and I also knew that when I went through the old records of donors, most lists include you. There was no fanfare then. You maybe even have donated for years without a thank you call. And no awareness of what would come. But it was evident to me that you have always desired to give back because you were grateful for what you received here, and you were grateful for what you have been receiving now from God. Permit me a little fanfare this time. On behalf of the alumni, current students, visitors to the campus, I want to thank both of you for paving the Newman Center parking lot in its 60th year by bestowing to you the first ever award of St. Joseph. The St. Joseph Award is proudly presented to Carl and Michelle Carlson for excellence in service to the St. Thomas More Newman Center mission, 2024. After 60 years, the place has been paved. Thank you. And this is an image of St. Joseph with Jesus in the shop, a reminder of the great work that has been made possible here at the Newman Center, and also fitting in your work of the construction trade. Nice. Right.
I just want to thank, it was easy for us to donate, but I want to thank my brother-in-law Ed Davis and all the people at CVC who they did the hard work and the heavy lifting, and they're the people who made it happen, and they did a great job. So this was very unexpected, and Father's story about the airplane is, can't you hold that? Is 100% right on, and we just presented an idea, and I thought it was a great idea, because when I went to school here, my dad was a concrete contractor, and I would come here, and I always noticed how horrible the parking lot was, and so it's just kind of funny that it was like 32 years later, and I ended up sitting next to Father John, and we ended up being able to fix it. And I'm grateful that we were able to do that. I thank God for that. So anyway, there's some more parts to the story that, like with Father John sleeping on the roof. Who does that? And was very impressed by that. And you know, I believe in the Catholic Church, and I really think we need to, you know, support our priests, and when they work this hard. And he does a great job, and I'm most impressed by just the number of people, that he's able to bring to the church. It is remarkable. And I want to thank him for the work that he's doing. So great job, Father.
What a beautiful crowd here, by the way. I mean, Vermilion really pulls out all the stops. But one thing that's great about being from South Dakota is I always say it's the 2 degrees of separation in the state of South Dakota. But when you're in the Catholic community, it's even a smaller world. Whether you're in Sioux Falls or Rapid City or the Black Hills or Aberdeen, when you're part of the Catholic community, it just makes our state even a little bit smaller. And it's a wonderful thing to be a part of. And as you can tell when we came up here, in each family there's a leader to specific things. And I am the leader for the adventure, but Carl is the spiritual leader in our family. And I grew up Catholic, we both grew up Catholic, and it was always something that was very obvious to us, but he is definitely the one who drives all leadership. He's in the car not dragging, but like, he's the one who's like, we're all going, no matter where we are. If we're in the smallest town in South Dakota or overseas or traveling, I don't care where we are. We've been in so many cool churches across not only this country, but other countries as well. And one of our favorite things, I think, when we travel is getting to see the Catholic community of each place that we go to. But this one's really special. I have never stepped foot in the Newman Center because I didn't go to USD. I hope you don't hold that against me. But I went in there today, and it was so neat to see all the priests that have been here that I know, and to see Father Mark Lichter, and just Father Scott Traynor, so many people that I've gotten to get to know through the Catholic community, whether I was here at USD or in the state of South Dakota or in Sioux Falls. So it is a really special community. And the last thing I'll say was, well, I felt so many songs going through my head. I think there's a song about paving paradise and putting up a parking lot or something. And then Ice Ice Baby, like something about a problem. If there's a problem, he'll solve it. There were all these songs, but what was really, really impressive was the gratitude that I saw on social media and the wonderful pictures that you captured that were so beautiful of the workers and the men pouring the parking lot, and the people that were so grateful for it, and the gratitude that came out. People sent me Facebook messages about what an important part the Newman Center is to their child here at USD, and I was like, wow, like that just, it felt good to do something that meant so much to so many people, and to see that the Newman Center touches so many lives here at USD and helps that fire inside continue to grow even when you're far away from home. So thank you for all of the work you do and all those wonderful priests that came before you that keep the flame alive. Thank you so much.
And it truly is a 60 years. Each of us do our part in our time. Because they aren't going to give me the microphone after I get done here, I gotta also thank all of you who traveled a distance to be here. The decision to have it here in Vermilion wasn't taken lightly, and we know that your willingness to come and to travel from so far means a great deal to us. We are gathered here to share this incredible joy of this mission, which has at its heart the proclamation of Jesus Christ to the students at the university. Doyle and Flan, as Pam Fritz would always I hear in my head, Doyle and Flan, those two great founders, with their great vision. Father Don Emming in the student leadership, he was the one who named it the St. Thomas More Newman Center. He's the one who introduced student leadership, parish council. Father Mike Wensing, who brought a team approach to ministry that was so important to him. Jim Englert, who so many people were reached by. Kevin and Shannon Miles. Father Mark Lichter, he might think that he was an interim one, but God put him here, like many other people, at an important time. Someone recently told me that they were going to commit suicide, and they were in a Greek house, and a friend of theirs convinced them to talk to somebody. And that person had met Father Mark Lichter and was willing to talk. And he attributes the fact he could tell me this story to the fact that that priest was on this campus. Father Joe Fursell and the powerful time of the sacraments and the mission that happened here. Sister Rosemary, you and all of those other sisters, the powerful ways that you welcomed so many people. The number of people that I hear tell stories about you finding them. They'd be studying and you would find them. Father Scott Trainer and the amazing entrustment of the missionary work to the student leaders and the missionaries. Val Zor, who isn't here, but 16 years behind the scenes in service. So many missionaries, so many people. I know I'm forgetting people, and I apologize if you should have been on this list. Chris Larson here as need for a campus minister, Father Steve Jones, and started really cleaning the place up. He's the one who got that sign out front and sort of made the appearance of the Newman Center feel like it could be something important on campus too. Father Chris Cowles brought a joy with him, and the great companionship that Monsignor Doyle would have understood well. He would have loved to see the joy Father Cowles brought to the students. We have celebrated 60 years, and there is much yet to come. There is a child being born today, maybe one of these in the carriages we have here, who in 18 years will arrive on this campus, filled with a desire for freedom, trepidation at his or her first steps as a young adult, eager to see what the world offers and possibly curious what Main Street offers. And certainly, because of this mission, we can have hope that God will offer that person the same graces that so many of us have had at the St. Thomas More Newman Center. To be known, to be loved, and to be called to serve God and his people in this world. What an incredible, miraculous privilege it is to be an instrument of God to another human being. I am grateful to be a small link. All of you make that link so long. There's a lot of people in this world that don't know that they have a plan and a purpose. And it's a joy to see what happens in the students here. Because when it happens here, it doesn't end. I just talked to somebody who told me that their parents have returned to the practice of their faith because they have seen the change that happened in her. I talked to another student who's here who shares about how her sister asked her what Bible she should buy and has started teaching catechetics in her parish to the children. To see little siblings interested in faith because their older brother is. What happens here goes everywhere. And it isn't a 60-year thing we're celebrating. It's 2,000 years God's love has been in this world. But we only understand that when we experience it in a particular way, right here. What a blessing the Newman Center has been to so many of us and to so many more. We have the keynote coming, but again, they don't give me back the microphone. You are all invited to Mass tomorrow at 11 a.m. I know many of you likely are on the road, but know that you're welcome. And also, before you take off, there's mugs and gifts and things like that that you should certainly take back. I'm grateful for all of the ways in which so many people have helped make this possible. Now, back to you.